There's a word we can hardly pronounce, surrogacy. And in this case, what does that mean? It means it asks a question. Who are the parents? Surrogate mother, a woman who becomes pregnant, usually by artificial insemination or in vitro fertilization, with the semen of a man who is not her husband, with the understanding that she will surrender her legal rights to the baby upon its birth. Quickly, go back and think about what we have just read. It's a woman who becomes impregnated, usually by artificial insemination or in vitro fertilization, with a man who's not her husband, with the understanding that she will surrender her legal rights to the baby upon its birth. What is traditional surrogacy? That is the carrying and delivery of a child of another, in which the woman uses her own egg and is therefore genetically related to the child. What a concept. This woman is using her own egg and is genetically related to the child. And yet she makes an agreement to relinquish her parental rights upon the birth of the child. Gestational surrogacy, the carrying and delivering of a child for another in which the woman does not use her own egg and is therefore not genetically related to the child. Agreement again to relinquish her parental rights upon the birth of the child. The man who contributes the semen is genetically or biologically related to the child. In some states, surrogacy contracts are illegal. Further, in some states, it is illegal to give birth to a child for the sole purpose of surrendering it to another person for adoption. Most states object to the payment of an adoption fee other than to cover the reasonable expenses involved. Some allow for a surrogate to be paid a fee above a reasonable medical and related expense. Thus, it is ultra critical to know the law of the jurisdictions involved. Increasingly, courts are faced with legal issues for which there are no precedents. These issues are emotional, scientific, and legal. Who is the legal mother? There are three factors that courts will consider in making this decision. 1, genetics. Who is biologically related to the child? Go back and think about your first slide. Gestation. 2, who carried the child to the date of its birth? And 3, intent. Who intended to be the permanent parent of this child? Not all courts agree on how this plays out. Not all feel intent is the major factor. Attention and consideration are most necessary as the potential for great problems exist, and decisions should not be made lightly. The utmost care must be exercised when making choices in matters of surrogacy.